Hello everyone, my name is Shannon Kennedy and I am the, let me try that again. Hello everyone, my name is Shannon Kennedy and I am the resident polyglot and language expert here at Drops, and I'm going to be answering a few of your questions. So let's dive right in. Are traditional and simplified characters different in pronunciation or just stroke? Traditional and simplified characters are different in stroke, but not in pronunciation. They're also different in where they're used. So traditional characters tend to be used in Taiwan. They're also used in Japanese kanji, and they're also used in Cantonese-speaking regions. Simplified characters, on the other hand, tend to be used in mainland China. Traditional characters have more strokes and are more complicated. Simplified characters, as their name implies, are simpler. They also tend to use a single character for words with the same pronunciation, where different characters in traditional writing might be used. For example, the traditional characters for face and for noodle, both pronounce mian, are different, but the character used in simplified Chinese is the same. What's the most productive way to learn multiple languages at the same time? If possible, language laddering is one of the best ways to learn multiple languages. This means you study one language through another. To do this effectively, however, one of your languages needs to be at a higher level. So here's how to do this. Let's say French is one of your stronger languages, but you'd like to start learning Russian. You try to find a course book that teaches Russian to French speakers. For example, something like Assimil. You could use Drops too. Set your native language to French and then the language that you're learning to Russian. This way you can continue to strengthen your French while building your new language, Russian. What are the most difficult and easiest languages you have ever learned? So I actually just wrote a post about the easiest and hardest languages to learn for English speakers. So if you haven't already, I highly recommend visiting languagedrops.com/blog to check them out. For me personally, the easiest language to learn was Japanese. It was a language that I wanted to learn for a very long time. I had a strong incentive to learn it. I work with a Japanese music company, and it was a language that I really enjoyed learning. I love Japanese food, Japanese culture, and I had lots of opportunity to use the language, so it made learning it enjoyable and, in result, easy. The hardest language for me personally was Russian. There were a number of grammatical and pronunciation obstacles I faced learning it, plus I never really had the chance to have it be a priority for me. Every time I started to learn Russian, I was learning it for myself. Another language I needed to learn for work purposes came up and pulled me away from it. It is currently, however, the language I'm focusing on now. What is my main motivation for being a polyglot? So, I didn't ever really intend to become a polyglot, and personally, it's not the word that I use to refer to myself. Instead, I call myself a language enthusiast. It all comes down to the fact that I just love the process of learning a language, and I enjoy the results of knowing another language, the opportunities and the connections that come with it, and work projects motivate me to continue learning new languages. What is the order of learning a language? Grammar, writing, reading, etc. For me, there are two things that I do to help me build a strong foundation in a new language. The first is that I learn lots of vocabulary, which is why I love Drops so much, because it allows me to do just that. The second is that I start speaking as soon as possible. With each of the new languages that I've learned, my goal usually involves communicating in that language in some way. So I start by creating a short script introducing myself. I then find someone to practice it with, usually a tutor or exchange partner. And during that conversation, new vocabulary and grammar often come up. So I make notes and then I study that material between then and my next lesson or chat. And in doing so, I learn what I need to know in a language pretty naturally. From there, when things come up I need further help with, I usually have a grammar guide or reference book of some sort that I look to when I need more information. Do you think it's better to learn one language at a time or multiple? I feel that it's best to learn one language at a time. You want to get to a solid intermediate level and then introduce the next language, taking a break from that first language. Once you get your language to the intermediate level, you can then switch to maintenance, where you spend time with each of them, keeping them up to speed or making gradual improvements. There are learners who do this differently, but this is what I do, and it's really worked well for me. How do you keep up with languages when you have other things going on? In a perfect world, I'd have the time that I need to work on my languages, all the time I need. But like many of you, I have work responsibilities, family responsibilities, and a personal life that also require my attention. I found habit stacking to be the best way to keep languages in my life, even at the busiest of times. This means that I pair my language study with something else I'm already doing. For example, anytime I spend time in the car is also time that I spend listening to language podcasts and audio lessons. Same with any time I spend doing laundry or dishes. I just plug my headphones in and I use that time to study. When I'm the passenger in a car or waiting in line, I pull up Drops and I do some quick vocabulary study. My session pauses wherever I leave off when I need to stop, so I can always finish my session later in the day. I also tie language into things that I'm already doing. For example, I do martial arts for exercise, so I find training videos on YouTube in Russian, in Korean, in Japanese, and I watch them. When I play video games, I play them in other languages, Skyrim in Russian, Assassin's Creed in French, and Mario 64 in Chinese, just as examples. These work really well for me, and they help me keep languages as a part of my daily life and routine. So thank you all for submitting your questions. I enjoyed answering them. If you would like to start learning a new language, Drops is a really fun way to do that with its engaging visuals, no typing, and just 5 minutes a day, you can be well on your way to learning a new language.